What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York calling from the Alto again, and this time we are here with Pistols at Dawn. It is great to be able to have all of you here. Thank you for
What's
coming on the show
up?
today.
Thank you for having us.
Yes,
oh my
sir.
God, Will with the laser light.
With the lasers.
I was about to say, Will, you just like upstaged all of us right now. Like,
I don't know why mine just does that. I figured that out yesterday.
yeah, I think it has to do with you lifting up your horns.
I think it does. Let's see. Hey,
That is
hey,
so
no
metal.
fair.
That is so metal. You just outdid Ronnie James Dio. You just outdid Gene Simmons.
Oh.
Like, you just outdid everybody with that. So, excellent job. You should totally pat in the horns right now.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
That's just Will's entire thing. He's just gonna upstage everyone and be like, "Oh, gee, shucks, my bad. I didn't mean to."
Sorry,
If
guys.
that doesn't happen at the Bowery Electric Show, I'm walking. I'm just letting you know. But
You will find out.
but it's so awesome to have you guys here. Not Sorry, the latest single is absolutely awesome. Being that this is a single, is this maybe like a good representation or a good taste of what the follow-up to Ascension is going to be like? Or is this just one little taste of what is to come? Who wants to go first?
This is definitely a good indication of what the rest is gonna sound like.
Hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, this album is like completely different from what we've done before, and I think it's in part because we are the new guys, and it has a piece of a little bit of our soul. Because before last year, we weren't in the band yet. So when Ascension was released, we weren't on that yet.
Okay.
So definitely a good indicator of what is to come. Like I said, a piece of all of our souls. Like Gabe and I come from like metal and prog and a prog background, and Will with a lot of like Guitar Hero influences like Van Halen and Pink Floyd, and then Gabe with the video game OSTs and the EDM music.
Yeah, I've DJ'd, I produced on the side and all this stuff. So I mean, we all have just different influences. And Adam likes actually just everything. Like, he comes from Ascension, that's his baby, but he just actually likes everything, and he has such a musical knowledge, so he can really do anything. As long as it has a fat beat behind it, he'll play.
For sure.
For this album, was there a vision that you had in mind with all these different inspirations and all these different influences, or was it a very like improvisational and very like experimental songwriting process?
That's a really good story. Or John, you want to go?
No, do it.
Yeah.
Baby.
So before we recorded the album, we had actually already written an entire album, and we were very confident in it. We're like, okay, we're going to go, we're going to track this thing. We're going to maybe tweak a few things here and there, but it's pretty much done. And so we go to LA and we go to work with some of the best songwriters and producers up there. And we decide that we're going to start from scratch. So we pretty much just scrap everything. Say what you got.
Yeah, because we basically wrote like Ascension 2, this time it's personal, Electric Boogaloo. Like, it was definitely where we thought like the idea was like this was what you'd want, bigger, better, more than what we did. And then, as you know, Adam comes with different plans.
Yes.
For sure. And then, we got in there. Sorry, John, you go ahead.
Oh, no, I mean, like, just bouncing off of you two. It's like we get to LA, we meet these producers, and something that we always say is, like, Adam is kind of like the driving force. He says the things that we are, like, scared to say. He is really, like, the backbone of, like, Pistols at Dawn. So, like, we're sitting there with these producers, and we're just like, they're like, what do you guys want? What do you guys have in mind? And Adam, just without missing a beat, he's like, we want to be the biggest band in the world. And meanwhile, Gabe, Will, and I are just like, oh my God, he didn't just say that. And I mean, these guys looked at each other, they looked at us, they're like, all right. And the rest is history.
You got some set of balls for going in with those aspirations and just being totally upfront about that. Like, some people tend to roll their eyes, and I mean, look, I've had a lot of people say that, and I've been like, okay, here we go. But like, I also think there's something to admire with the fact that you have the balls to like fucking just say that. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I love it. It's cool. It's like when your drummer just says, I want to be the Pirate King / fucking biggest band in the world, whatever. Any fucking reference, I just want to be number one. And it's like, wow. Most of the time, anywhere else, you'll just like scoff and laugh. And of course, it's hard to be number one, but yes, he will manifest that for himself too. We said it, man. He's the driving force. He'll do it. He'll actually do it.
So with this album that you completely scrapped, will that ever see the light of day?
We've actually been talking about it. Yeah,
I hope not.
Mayhaps.
Whatever. There's good stuff in that.
Yeah.
No, there is good stuff. I kind of now want to like, dude, Will, take the ones that you wrote. Everyone can do whatever, because now we have like a new idea of what we want to write or like what we want to do. And now that we know, like, oh wait, the doors have opened, and like with all the new songs that we have coming forward, there's a lot of different like song, I guess not even structures, but like vibes that we didn't even think that's what we would be doing in Pistols. But now that we feel like we can do anything. And I'm like, oh, we could get all these like tough guy hard rock songs and do something else with them, or keep on like picking at them and using them for new songs like we've been doing.
Do you so are you ever worried that the record that you scrap will just end up being like, what if that record sees the light of day as like a B-side and that makes you the biggest band in the world?
Then
That would
then
be-
c'est la vie.
I mean, whatever works. That's
Whatever.
great.
Yep. Let's
Me
see.
too.
You give the laser response again. That's
Oh yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yep,
Put 'em
exactly.
up.
Let's see.
Let's go.
Oh my god,
There
that's
we
so
go.
fucking
Oh
awesome.
my.
I just
I'm
kind of
so
want the whole
jealous.
interview to just you be doing that.
I'll do
Yes.
that every now and then.
Yep.
Spontaneous.
Does is there like a formula? Nah, you don't have the power, man. I'm sorry.
No, bro. Whatever,
Um,
dog.
But when it comes to do you have a formula that you all stick with for songwriting? Is there a template that you always follow, where you always start off with a similar thing, or has the making of each song called for its own approach?
It's a bit of, it's a bit all over the place, because sometimes you go in with like a template and a formula, but when we were out there, everything kind of flowed very naturally. It was like, hey, one of us comes up with a riff. All right, this riff sounds cool. This is a cool vibe we're going for. And then it just comes down to like choosing the right melody. And once you have that right melody down, the words, everything else, it kind of just falls into place. And
Just writes itself.
It writes itself. And when you're hanging out with guys that you get along with and that bolster your creativity, it's, it just flows.
Getting
Honestly.
along, getting
For
along
sure.
with people is the most important. It's like almost just as important as being able to play your instrument.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, bands when the magic is gone, and some of these bands have like been hanging out forever, but then out of nowhere something happens and it just breaks apart forever, and then we have to wait for like, them to try to be friends just to make amazing music again, and sometimes that just doesn't happen. And like for us, we have such a good like connection with all of us, even like the writers and producers we met with, we'd be able to have such a good time, bond with them, and have like I don't know, just cool hangs, and that's how
Really
we create
deep
awesome
conversations and
Yeah.
deep
Yeah.
subjects and everything.
Yeah. Well, you just described Slipknot's career, though, pretty much on.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, but so when a band tells me, "Oh, we all mutually came together. We all collectively came together, and everybody was on par," I don't buy a second of that. No offense, because if you're in a band and you're writing a dozen or so songs, and there's 4 to 5 people with all of your own different experiences, you all just mention your different inspirations. You all are going to have different ideas and different methods. So, but do you think that's even better? Like, do you want everybody to be on the same page? Or is it better if everybody's a little bit in their own worlds to add variety and contrast into the sound?
I think you just hit the nail on the head with that
Yeah,
second
pretty
one.
much.
Yeah, because like everyone just bringing their own creative input, like it can steer it in a completely different direction. And if I have an idea, or if Gabe has an idea, or John has an idea, they're like, "Oh, I think it should go this way," and it's something that we wouldn't have thought about before. It can completely change the whole dynamic and whole direction of that song, and that did happen multiple times. And especially with like scrapping the old stuff and going with the new stuff, it was really just the combination of all these new ideas that came together and molded this new album, this new sound. And we really just kind of sat back and trusted each other and trusted the producers and songwriters, and it just flowed from start to finish. And we all just kind of sat back and hung on for the ride.
Yeah. Because like I'm not gonna tell Will how to do his solo, and like John is gonna always go off and like write in his notebook, and I love helping with lyrics, so he knows he always can bounce them off of me. And I'm not gonna tell Adam what he's gonna do with his drums. Ha! That's funny. People have tried. Don't tell him what to do with his drums. He'll do it himself. So everyone just has to do their own thing, and as long as we're all like able to like, I don't know, have like less ego, like serve the song, but then also allow others to do what they want, it comes together in a magical way, and then in a way we didn't expect too, which is cool.
Ego is like, I've always said that ego kills bands more than drugs. Like,
Oh yeah.
100%.
yep. Without great tone, there's not sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Without great tone, it's sex, drugs, and ego.
Yeah, 100%. I
There
mean,
you
it's, the whole ego thing. It's like bands thinking, "Oh, I have to sound this way because this is how we've sounded forever, and we have to hold ourselves up to our own standards. And like, meanwhile, it's just like, no, dude, it's you write what you feel. You write your music. You write the things that you want to do. You can't go about it in like such a way, because then the music becomes very dishonest, very not authentic.
Yeah.
And
Stale.
yeah.
Do you think?
100%. Get stuck in your ways.
Do you think that when a band there is such a thing as trying too hard to be original too? Like I sometimes think that a band that sounds exactly like another band or whatever, like I would prefer that versus something being original and it just be sounding terrible. You know what I mean? Like making a bunch of out of tune, offbeat stuff and calling it avant-garde.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's kind of
100%.
you get into that world of concept albums and
I,
stuff like
I
that.
love concept albums,
Yeah,
but I
no,
like
for
good.
sure.
I like good. I love every
Right.
concept album from My Chemical Romance to Fear Factory to Mastodon to Rush. But like,
There you go. Oh, well, 100%.
but I if I don't like the music, I don't give a shit what the concept is.
Exactly.
Exactly. I mean, there's being original, and then there's bad writing. I mean, there are plenty of prog band, like I said, Gabe and I come from like a prog background. We love progressive music. We love everything, but we also know that sometimes it just becomes riff salad, and like these bands just trying like a whole bunch of new things, and it, like I said, inauthentic. It becomes not really like just like a song coming from within.
I think that's just their label paying them by the note. But go on.
There you go.
Exactly. But it's just like that. It's like you if you force something, it won't ever work. Like,
And because there's so much, so this is another thing. I feel like artists are, whether they're painters or musicians, whatever, always focus so much. Like they tend to notice mistakes and kill themselves over mistakes and drive themselves crazy over mistakes. But let's be real, a lot of listeners aren't going to notice that one little form of reverb in that final pre-production thing.
Nope.
Just like maybe like a person who got a tattoo, for example, isn't gonna like be like, oh well, that undersaturated, overworked line is like.
Yeah.
So do you almost kind of have to separate yourself in a way where like, okay, I'm noticing this because I'm working behind this, but you put yourself in the listener's shoes and be like, okay, that's not that big of a deal.
So it's funny because I mean, as like me and like we come from different backgrounds of music, we've written different things. We all know perfectionism is something that you'll never reach. But having this experience where we went to LA and wrote all these like super high quality, like super like I mean like these songs were amazing to us, and we'll look through the stems and there are mistakes in them. The stems, man, there are some mistakes in them, but
there's
no
some
one will
stuff in
ever
it.
notice, and it sounds great. And it's truly like we're like, wow, you really just have to. Just like send it, just finish, send it. Like, what do we
Yep.
need to do? Do this. This part works. No, it's good. Send it. Like,
Yep.
work fast, work efficiently, and just like trust yourself to know what's good.
I figured that out very early too, being a lead guitarist when it comes to guitar tone and stuff like that, and just endless tweaking of, you know, the sound itself, like just the, like you said, the reverbs, the delays, the chorus, everything. And I'll listen back to live videos and I'm like, nobody knows what we're tweaking.
Yeah.
And people will go down endless rabbit holes and spend, you know, fortunes on, you know, different amps and guitars and everything just to get all those different tones. And half the time, I mean, the audience is not going to know the difference. And that's the biggest thing, like you just said. I mean, separating our artistry from what the audience is going to enjoy. You have to do that, because if you don't, you're going to go down an endless rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of me sometimes does wonder if all the people in the front looking at the pedal board actually know what those settings are
Right.
going to sound like. I don't know. I may be making some firing words right there, but
No, it's true.
No, I mean the whole industry. Like if you're looking at it, like a lot of these like individual pedals are just becoming extinct because quad cortex is now the industry standard, and like most bands that you see on stage just have like one quad cortex. You don't even need like the amps behind you anymore or anything. It's just like that. They come with like in-ear monitors. You don't even have stage wedges anymore, and that's just how the industry is moving. And it's so much easier for us to travel like that too.
100%.
You don't have like a ton of equipment that you like carry with you, and you don't have so many variables. It's just
So consistent.
you just plug a left and a right into your board, and that's it. You know.
when it comes to the live show too, do you practice that as much as you practice like the actual music? Like, do you almost practice stage presence and crowd interaction, or do you have to kind of just let that happen naturally? Everybody's first show is awkward as fuck. So
I have a mirror right there. That mirror right there sees me perform more than anyone
Heck,
else.
yeah. It's awesome because our rehearsal space in Atlanta, we have it set up like a stage. So, we face forward, we're not looking at each other. So we can kind of play through the songs and get a feel for where we're going to move throughout each song and stuff like that. So we definitely work on that for sure.
do you have like dolls set up and everything like that?
We need
to. We need to.
We should.
In the future, yeah.
John needs to practice the eye contact stare.
We need to paint the wall like it's a crowd. Just paint the audience in.
I just feel like everything we've talked about so far, we have like maybe 20 different like hard times articles if you guys read that site ever.
Oh my god, yeah.
I love the hard times.
Oh my god, shout out to the hard times because they are some of the funniest satire you'll
Funny
ever
as
read. in your
hell,
life.
man.
Love it.
When it comes to coming up with writing ideas too, because it's always good, you guys are a rock and roll band so I see unity and brotherhood within your band, but isolation is always the greatest tool for creativity. So do you find it easier to come up with ideas when you are all in the company of each other, or when you're alone in your own element?
I think
Good
both.
question.
I think
Yeah,
both
I'd say
because
both, too.
like we all have like different side projects with music that we write that won't fit Pistols, and then like when we're all together, it's just like, oh yeah, no, that's a cool thing. Let's go more into that. Oh, that's a great topic to write about. That's a nice nugget. Like, remember that. Let's write some lyrics about that. So it's a bit of both, really. I feel like when you write music, it's supposed to be very natural, very like it just comes, it flows.
Go
Like I
with the
said,
flow.
not forced.
Yeah.
Could-
No, I agree.
Go on.
I was just gonna say, I think we all like together, the three of us, we all come up with kind of individual chunks and ideas on our own, and then when we bring those chunks together, the three of us really like just go boom, like, and we just assemble everything on the spot, and that's kind of what makes a lot of the Pistol sound for sure.
Do you think though that sometimes waiting for the inspiration, or only working when you're inspired, so to speak, is kind of like, I feel like sometimes you do need to force yourself to work a little bit. Sometimes you need to almost kind of give yourself a good kick in the ass to,
It's true.
like, and be like, I don't care if you're tired. I don't give a shit if it's your mental health day or something like that. You need to pick up your instrument. You need to pick up your pen and make something happen.
For sure.
For sure. For
You
sure.
can
It's
you
like,
could definitely get in a rut.
yeah, and that's where kind of like discipline comes in. But if you do it enough, if you just like, okay, like I'm gonna write a song a day for like a week, like you can do it, and it still doesn't have to really be very forced. It's what I mean by forced is not, it's don't just, oh, I want to do this because it sounds cool. I want to do this because people are going to like it if I do this. It's like, no, this, everything needs to serve the song. Everything needs to be like, oh, this is all for the benefit of the song and like how it's supposed to, what the song wants to do, So,
For sure.
Because I also think that just because something is forced like that, I feel like the organic aspect and the force aspect don't always go hand in hand.
yeah.
Very true.
They really don't. So,
How do you all know when a song is finished?
I think you just got to call it at some point. You got to be like, all right, we've done everything you can do. You just gotta let it go.
yeah.
There's a moment where you're just like, anymore just sounds like, you could start adding, oh, what about and how about maybe and it's like, okay, guys. I mean, it's easy for when we go to LA because it's like we were writing almost a song a day, and then like
We had
were
a
like,
time
okay,
limit.
Yeah, time limit. So we
Yeah.
kind of thought like, let's be like efficient and good with our time, and then obviously we go home and like the solo isn't written yet and the lyrics aren't totally done yet, so we get to go home and stew on some of those things, but we generally want to hit a song structure as fast as possible so that we know how everything's going to flow, and if it flows nicely and we know, oh, that's good, all the little bits just come into play.
Well, you
For sure.
you mentioned you have the prog background. That means your song's supposed to be like 27 minutes and not have any structure.
Exactly. No chorus, no nothing. Just go from the one riff to the other.
Yeah.
Our first album had a song that ended the entire album that was 12 minutes long. Yeah.
That's amazing. I've always I love it when there have been times like Bell Witch is a good example where they have an album, it's one song that's an hour and a half long.
I love that.
and it's a hell of an experience. But I remember seeing them open for somebody, and I'm wondering how are they going to exactly incorporate that in their set list.
Yeah,
Good
that's
question.
Crazy.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard because like when these songs are so long, you really can't play live. People don't have the attention span for it in a lot of cases. When you go, if you're opening for like Dream Theater or Opeth or something like that, like you'll be able to like have that fully come to life. But even like when performing it, it's like when you're playing in something in 7 or something in 5, it's not as easy to groove and perform it like moving around. You're kind of just like standing there and like showing, hey, this is my skill, but not really like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm feeling this. It's not like a 4-4-4 just like straight up.
It's harder
like,
to
bop.
dance. It is.
Yeah.
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 And it's also like maybe you know it very well, and like sometimes there's a little hiccup, and oh look, there's a little change up, and how cool is it? And everyone, if they don't know your song, they're just like, oh wait, it went off, and then you see everyone just try to get back into groove again, and you're like, oh okay, God.
Hey, everybody has their own methods, right?
Exactly.
100%.
So before we go, I want to thank all of you so much for your time, not only for an awesome conversation, not only for your music, but most of all, I would like to thank you. All 3 of you logged on this Zoom, and all of you had the perfect setup and everything. Nobody got
Dude,
like.
thank you so much.
I normally request 1 to 2 members. You guys killed it, like the setup and everything. This is the example of how it should be. There we go. That was good.
Let's go.
Again, I'm holding you to that at the Bowery Electric show.
Yes.
Hell
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. Everybody be there too.
Yep.
New
Oh,
York.
Yeah, come on, guys.
September
New York
17th.
City.
September 17th, right?
September 17, it's gonna be a free show at the Bowery Electric.
Free
We're
show,
gonna
free
have
merch.
Bunch of goodies for you. It's gonna be just the absolute best time. You
It's-
better make sure to be there.
It's New York City. Nothing is free, but I get what you mean. But is there just anything else with Pistols at Dawn you'd like to promote for after the Bowery Electric show? Just so with this new single out, what else could we be expecting for the foreseeable future?
I mean, definitely follow us on our socials. Pistols at Dawn official on Instagram and TikTok, and Pistols at Dawn band on Facebook. We may or may not have something happening on September 20th. You're just gonna have to follow us, find out, see what that is.
Obsessive.
And after that, right after that New York show, we are flying to Germany because then our Europe tour starts with Des Rocks, and we're gonna be over in Europe and the United Kingdom for a month, and we're just gonna go out, lay it out there, and just have a great old time.
Hell yeah! And you're gonna tell me as soon as I turn this recording off what that special thing is. But
Exactly.
thank you so much, everybody. We are here with Pistols at Dawn. New stuff coming very soon. We will see you next time on Heavy New York Lasers. One more time. Yeah.
Already on it. Yo.
See you next time, everyone.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Thank you.
Bye.